Today on Photo Gear News, we're going to be checking out the Manfrotto BeFree Colour travel tripod. Okay, so first things first, let's have a look at the tripod and get it out of the travel case that it comes in. Let's get rid of that. Okay, so the tripod itself, this is actually almost identical to the original Manfrotto BeFree tripods that came out a couple of years back. However, there are a few slight changes. Most noticeable is the fact that this is the BeFree Colour, so it's available in a variety of different colours. Grey, blue, black, blue, green, red and grey. As you can see, the tripod is fairly small in size. It folds down to around 34 centimetres when it's folded. And like many travel tripods that we've seen in recent years, this folds in on itself. So you separate it by moving out all of the legs here, and then the centre column is upright. You move that down just by that lock on the side, just as usual. And then the leg locks here have got 3 different positions. So there's one like this to lock it, to turn it back on itself. And then there's a second position which has the leg coming out sort of that far, and then you have third, which really splays the legs a bit more for added stability, and if you want to get a bit lower down to the ground. It feels well made. It's aluminium, so it's not the lightest of tripods. It weighs 1.4 kilos. There are lighter travel tripods available, but you don't want a travel tripod that's too light because that means it's going to be flimsier. You do want some weight there, obviously. If you go to any shows where there are tripods out on display, one of the first things that people try is to grab it and pull it down to see how much the legs move. The amount of pressure that you're applying as you're pushing down is nowhere near like the weight of your camera and lens is going to be. A better test is actually to hold the legs and twist, because that's where you don't want any move. So just get the tripod, make a fist and really just see if they can budge. And as you can see there, these aren't budging at all. We'll just extend this a little bit more and give that a try again. Sitting behind the desk isn't obviously ideal to do this, but I don't know if you can see that, but that's actually the table budging. The tripod itself isn't really moving. So as I mentioned, the leg locks are made of plastic. Is this a problem? It depends whether they're going to do their job or not and how long they're going to last. Now, I can't really say how long they're going to last. Do they do the job? Well, let's unlock that. And again, I'm applying much more force here than the weight of a camera is ever going to do. And they're really not budging anywhere. They're really good, strong locks. If they do work loose, then there is a nut, a screw there to tighten it all back up as if it was new. So the Manfrotto BeFree comes with this dinky little tripod head, just a fairly simple ball head. What you'll notice here is the grooves that have been cut out, and when you fold the legs back on itself, the legs actually fit into the notches there, so they don't kind of splay out at the side, which means it's nice and small for packing down. There's also a catch lock there to make sure that if you sort of catch this on something, the plate and your camera isn't just going to drop off. You obviously get a plate with the ball head, and it's quite cool. Manfrotto have got their little logo printed just on the back, on the screw nut there. But again, the plate itself is plastic. However, this isn't an issue whatsoever, because you can just use the Manfrotto plates that have been with us since the dawn of time, and they will fit on perfectly onto this ball head. A few key facts about the Manfrotto BeFree. With the legs and the centre column fully extended, it comes up to 144 centimetres, which is around 4.5 feet. So I'm just under 6 foot with a camera mounted on top. It comes up to sort of just below my chin, so bending over a little bit to take photos. However, that's what you get when you buy a travel tripod. What you're after is something that's lightweight, that's convenient to use. If you want something taller, it's also going to be bigger and heavier. So generally that means you're going to be less inclined to use it. It's going to end up at home, it's going to end up sitting in the car, and you're not going to use it. Let's put a camera on here. We'll extend these legs out a little bit. these catches are a little bit fiddly, I have to say. There's kind of a knack to them, and you sort of work out how to do it. They're not difficult, it's just a bit of a knack the first few times you use them, and you kind of have to push up and twist them just to get them back into position. And you have to make sure the leg is slightly folded back, and then they're quite easy. Not got a huge array of cameras with me at the moment, but we've got a D300S here with an old Tokina 2870. I love this lens because it's very cheap. It's 2.8, and I picked it up off eBay for about £100. Now this combination weighs 1.5 kilos roughly. I think it's about 1.6 kilos, the D300 and the lens. There's a battery in here too. Let's fully tighten it without tightening it too much. And again, I'm applying a lot more pressure here than the weight of the camera. And there's a bit of flex in it, but there's not a lot. That's a really sturdy little ball head. Okay, let's have a bit more of a look at these legs then. That's a really dainty leg there. It's quite strong though. There's a little bit of flex in them, but they're not going to bend like permanently. And if you've got cheap carbon fibre, that's sort of tendency to snap. And I've seen photographers snap carbon fibre legs, and I have to ask, what the hell were you doing to snap it? Okay, so what I'm going to do is fully extend this, and we'll do the test I said you shouldn't do, and we'll just hold that there. Went down a bit, but again, I'm applying much more pressure than you normally a camera's ever going to do. That's not going anywhere. That's good, sturdy leg. And again, back to what I said earlier, the real test is in the flex there, is in this joint and the flex on the legs themselves. There's going to be a bit of bend in this one because the legs are a little bit thinner at the bottom, but generally this is a really, really solid tripod. So a couple more things about the Manfrotto BeFree. Firstly, we've got a rubber grip here. This is great if you're shooting out in the cold. You can grab the leg without your hand freezing off. Now, this BeFree Colour actually has a few changes from the original BeFree. The first thing to note is the rubber feet have changed. These are quite small and they don't actually make much contact with the ground. The newer feet have a much sort of flatter profile. They're a bit grippier and a lot more contact with those. The second thing is at the bottom of the original one, there is just this rubber stopper which comes out for reversing the center column. It just pulls out like so and allows you to move the center column out. On the BeFree Colour, we've got a hanger, so you can add some ballast. You can hang your bag from it to stop it moving around, and it actually unscrews rather than the slightly awkward rubber bung system. And you can reverse the center column like so. So if you want to take a really low angle shot, the center column's now upside down, you can mount the camera down here and get far lower to the ground. Now where you've just unscrewed the holder, the hook for your ballast, there is a 3/8 of an inch screw thread. So you can actually hang some 3/8 accessories on there. So Manfrotto magic arms and clamps and bits too there. So now we'll close the tripod back down. We can get the legs to fold completely in on themselves there. You can see how it just all fits in really nicely into the plate there. It's a really nice compact system. I have to say it's a tiny bit fiddly again, and a little bit annoying that you can't do it with the plate attached to it. So you can see there with the plate in, they don't quite fold back in on themselves. I'm going to base my review of the Manfrotto BeFree Colour on the original BeFree because they're virtually identical except for those few slight changes that I've already mentioned. The BeFree is a really great travel tripod. It's sturdy, it's extremely well made. The things that are going to flag for people are the plastic catch locks. To me, not an issue. They do the job very well. You've got the option to tighten or loosen them, and you know there's a positive you know that you've locked it. It's very definite. With twist locks, sometimes you might not quite twist it all the way. Having said that, twist locks would shave a little bit off the circumference of each leg at the bottom here, and you could probably get an even slimmer tripod. Generally, for the people that are going to be using this tripod, it holds more than enough weight. The legs are extremely sturdy. The ball head is surprisingly sturdy and really solid given its size, and it's a great design the way these legs fold in. That's just genius. So the Manfrotto BeFree Colour is priced at around £140, and for that you're getting a really good tripod that is going to last you a long, long while. Make sure you subscribe to Photo Gear News for the latest photo gear news, as well as reviews, and coming soon, lots of features and shooting advice.